I'll not focus more on regulations, I'll focus more on law enforcement in my talk today. I think there was earlier a mention of Anant Ambani video. This is something similar that came up on Facebook a few weeks ago. So we had, Nirmala Sitharaman, we had Sudha Murthy, we had, I think, Narayan Murthy, we had, so bunch of people who are promoting a fake, financial investment scam. And actually, the Nirmala Sitharaman one, my mother got it, and she sent the link to me saying, see this, and she was like, why are they not taking action? Because it's Nirmala Sitharaman, so a lot of people will fall prey. And then when I went to Facebook, clicked on the link, I went into a bit of rabbit hole, and then saw that it's not just one video, there are a bunch of videos that were getting circulated in the name of different, popular people. Now, in cybersecurity, we talk of 7 levers for cyber risk control. There's, prevent, detect, deter, compensate, what else? Compensate, and then recover, and then 2 more, whatever. Taking the same an analogy to law enforcement, I think law enforcement also has pretty much similar kind of levers, right? And out of these, the strongest lever is deterrence, right? The reason why someone does not commit a crime, the strongest and the biggest reason someone does not commit a crime is a deterrence factor. And deterrence really comprises of three components, I would say. The clarity in law, everyone should know that, okay, this is legal, this is not legal, right? If there's a gray area, then of course, people may fall into the other side. So one is clarity in law. Second is swiftness in action, and third is the surety of punishment, right? So this is what really is deterrence. And as Kautilya said, in his own signature style, when the law of punishment is kept in abeyance, it gives rise to such disorder as is implied in the proverb of fishers, which is really what we call as Matsya Nyaya, right? Matsya Nyaya is where you can, the powerful have their way over the weak, you can do whatever you want and get away with it, and who really suffers the most in a state of Matsya Nyaya is really the vulnerable sections of the society. Now, when it comes to deterrence, I stumbled into this, some time back. I was sitting in a review that one of the ADGPs was conducting with district cyber police stations, and when he was doing this review, I realized that even in cyber crimes, there are 2 kinds of cyber crimes. Cyber crimes that happens remotely, and cyber crimes that happens, locally, right? So remotely we know, right, all these financial frauds, digital arrest scams and all those, right? There are also cyber crimes that happens locally, So for example, somebody filmed someone in a compromising position and then started, blackmailing or leaked the video, those kind of things. What I noticed was, where there are cyber crimes that happens locally, the police are able to take much better action, are able to progress much better in terms of their investigations than when a cybercrime happens remotely, right? So, what this started telling me is that while we talk of technology expertise in law enforcement, etc., the biggest challenge that law enforcement is facing today is really a logistical challenge when it comes to cybercrime investigation, right? So I'll take a simple hypothetical example. Let us say there is a criminal in Mewat region, and then the criminal has 10 victims in 10 different states, each defrauded of say 50,000 rupees, right? Now, if I am a victim, I am expected to go to my local police station and lodge a complaint there. Even if I call 1930 or the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal, it finally gets redirected to the local police station. Now for the local police station, sitting at his desk, the person can carry out the initial investigations. The person can do the call data records, IP data records, find out where the call originated. The person can look at the KYC of the bank account, and maybe the person will see that the KYC of the bank account shows an address in Bengal, the KYC of SIM will show an address in Odisha. So this initial investigation analysis can be done sitting wherever the police person is. But beyond that, what further action can he do? For the police to take any further action, now next step is he has to dispatch someone to Mewat, he dispatch someone to Odisha, dispatch someone to Bengal, and the cost involved in doing this investigation is probably more than 50,000 rupees, which is the amount in consideration here. So it's a rational decision for the police to say, well, I may not carry out this investigation because it's not worth the time and effort, right? But then what we are missing out is that it's not just 50,000. There are actually 10 different victims in 10 different jurisdictions, and if it were to be possible to club these cases together, then there's a rational decision that can be made to actually pursue this investigation further. Also, the police from 10 different states, trying to catch hold of the same criminal, it doesn't really make sense. So if you think of this as a workflow problem, maybe cybercrime investigations can be improved by having a central orchestration agency, right? So for example, let us say tomorrow in CBI there is a cybercrime investigation team. I call up 1930, lodge a complaint, it goes to this central cybercrime investigation team. The person can be sitting anywhere, they do the same initial analysis. They find out that it traces to 3 different states, 3 different locations. They can they also can see quickly that okay, there are probably 10 or 20 cases that I can club together because it's probably the same criminal behind all these 10 cases. They can they will have their personnel in each of these locations who can then be tagged with carrying out investigation in each of these locations, and then I think from a workflow perspective it can be streamlined further. And there are 2 potential risks in doing this kind of in doing this central investigation of cyber crimes, right? One is in our federal structure there could be concerns from the states that okay, could the center usurp my powers, because today pretty much every single case would have some kind of cyber angle. So maybe the center can call everything as a cyber case and then take away my power. I think that can be addressed by giving the veto to the states. The states can say okay, only where I give up this responsibility of investigation to the central agency, you take it up. It's my prerogative to give it up to you. Second is the central agency itself could probably be thinking, okay, would I be bogged down by huge number of cases, because the number of financial cyber cases has increased from about 200 per month in 2019 to about 200,000 per month today, right? So would the central agency be flooded with cases? Again, probably that can be addressed by having a two-way handshake, right? Even the central agency can only take up the responsibility of those cases where probably the impact is highest. And if you apply a Pareto principle here, probably 80% of the cases, are committed by 20% of criminals. So, as long as we focus on those 20%, there's probably the chances of getting convictions, etc., start becoming higher. So, I think the framework probably needs a bit of rejigging to look at how to handle how to handle these remote crimes. When our IPC, CRPCs were framed back in 1870, 1880, 1890, forget cyber, telephone, telecommunications themselves were at very nascent stage, right? So one of the underlying unsaid assumption when these laws were framed is that for a crime to happen, the victim and the perpetrator have to be in physical proximity. And we now see that the cyber world is breaking away this assumption. We today live in times that are unprecedented in the history of humankind. Humankind has never seen these kind of times where technology is changing so rapidly, and how technology is impacting our society is changing so rapidly. So we need to refresh our prayers to be in line with today's time. Thank you.